If you want to live safe in your yard, if you want to be able to fall asleep and let the door open and wake up in the morning and still be alive, you cannot make the mistake of putting in the pain.
The moral of the story is, do not be conned by these politicians. Do not be fooled by party affiliations. Jamaican people, you need to start thinking independently and stop voting based on political parties. Stop supporting political parties and support ideas. Support ideas and support ideas that make sense. What Mr. Wholeness just did was something a con man does, something a liar does. He preyed upon people's fear of crime and violence. That is what he did. He preyed upon it. He preyed upon your fears of crime and violence and told you that it is the next party that is the reason why crime and violence exists in the country. When we know that not to be true, crime and violence will exist despite which party is in power. Now what are your plans to deal with that crime and violence? What are your plans that are going to make people feel secure enough to leave their doors open at night? That is what we need, plans and policies. Now we know whatever he said prior to that and after that was complete bull. Because last year was almost the highest murder rate in Jamaican history. It is up there in like the top 3. There was a bloodbath in Jamaica last year, and there were rapes on top of rapes on top of rapes in the country last year. The crime was so bad. Jamaica was embarrassed because the FBI and other US security organizations had to come to Jamaica to grab up some of these lottery scammers. So next time you hear a politician speaking in the manner which Mr. Wholeness spoke and trying to con you and trying to prey on your fears, just tell them no. Stop showing up for these political rallies, these pep rallies, these cheerleading events. These people do not have your best interest at heart. Anyway, let's continue to the story. Early shutdown times for St. James businesses. So the police have announced there will be some changes to the operating hours of businesses in St. James as part of ensuring that the threat to public safety is contained during the state of emergency. The following are closing hours for all the businesses in St. James. Community and recreational areas by 6 p.m. Cook shops, dry goods and haberdasheries by 7 p.m. Spirit licensed premises by 9 p.m. Service stations by 10 p.m. Clubs and fast food outlets by midnight. According to the police high command, it wants to assure the public that curtailment of activities will be done in accordance with and with respect to human rights, and encourages citizens' full cooperation as members of the security forces seek to restore public peace and general good order of society. The police have warned the public to be in full adherence of these restrictions and advises the violators will be prosecuted. Everybody, you know that I have always maintained that these extreme actions will not make a change. This extreme show of force will not yield significant results. Curfews and these type of things, they are not going to yield significant results because this is not the problem. What you have right here now is what you'd call martial law. They're going to have soldiers and police all over the place just lurking, and all that's going to be done is some of them are going to take it overboard and abuse power. And when the money runs out for this curfew and the government can no longer sustain this emergency action, this concentration of resources in one area, when they have to disperse and go back home, the violence is going to rise to the same level, or it's going to increase, because everyday criminal activities are not being taken seriously. They still aren't investigating crimes. They think that this is what policing is to them. If they're not doing things like this, they're not making a change. But when people come in to report crimes on a daily basis, some are going to be ridiculed, some are not going to be taken seriously. They're going to brush off some because they think they have more important things to do. Because if it is not something as extreme as this, it's not policing. Please, if you listen to this, bookmark it. Bookmark it until, let's say, 5 months time. And let's see if there's an actual change in criminal activity and violence in the area. Because they just were in St. James with this same Sozo business, and this now what they're doing is just another rendition of the Sozo that didn't work. I don't know how else we are going to get across this point to the government, that the culture of the organization, the police organization, has to change in order for them to be able to control crime. You cannot neglect crime until it reaches the levels it reached in 2017, and then you start doing things like this. Because now your tourism is under threat. See, if you had never sold out Jamaica and you had included these people in these areas in this whole tourism business, there wouldn't be all these scammers. There wouldn't be all these guns in these areas, because people would not have had time to indulge in activities like that, because they would have been a part of the vibrant tourism industry. These great walls that you build around the resorts to block out natives, these are the reasons why things are unstable. But how do we get these points? They don't care about this. They just care about their bottom line, their money, their friends' pockets. That's all they care about. How long has blood been spilling in these streets and they have been ignoring it? It shouldn't have reached a point where the amount of bloodshed is happening. It shouldn't have reached that point. It shouldn't reach this point. No. I am not completely knocking them. If they made mistakes in the past and now they're doing this to restart their culture, and when this curfew business and this state of emergency ends, they start policing properly and start taking people seriously, and start taking crime seriously in the earliest stages, all petty crime, if they're not going to take these crimes seriously, they're going to end up back at square one. But I am not knocking it 100%. I am hoping they make change. And they don't just create another big puppy show scene and waste money. Jamaican officials say they need to impose a state of emergency in the area surrounding Montego Bay in order to control a spate of gang violence gripping the popular tourist destination that is endangering public safety. The Canadian government is warning travelers seeking Sunday to exercise a high degree of caution. Jamaican authorities imposed a military lockdown in St. James Parish on Thursday following 335 murders in 2017, twice the tally of any other parish. Major General Anthony Anderson, Jamaica's national security advisor, told CTV News Channel Friday that the number of shootings and murders has been growing for some time, but markedly in last year. He says much of the problem is outside the tourist mecca of Montego Bay and that Jamaica is still open for business. These people care about the tourism so much. I wish that tourists would just stop going to Jamaica. Just stop going to Jamaica and just let all these people who own these resorts, all these foreigners who own these resorts, let them just sell it off and give it up, pack up and go back where they come from. Anderson said much of the crime is driven by conflicts between criminal groups over control of the highly lucrative lottery scamming trade, drug movements, and general turf wars. When the gangs clash, innocent people get caught up too, said Anderson. The state of emergency gives police and military forces more freedom of action. So this is what Jamaican policing is. This is what the Jamaican police force feel like policing is. We have all the power in the world to do anything to you that we want, to abuse you in any way that we want. That is their perception of what policing is. So if they're not doing this, it's like they feel like their hands are tied behind their backs. If they can't beat you up and kill you and get away with it, they feel like their hands are tied behind their backs. For instance, they can do searches without a warrant. So if they get information that something is occurring somewhere, they can respond rapidly to do it. Listen, I don't know where they are getting this information from, because police don't care about warrants in Jamaica. Unless it's for wealthy people. I know they dig up anybody's vehicle. No warrant needed. They just dig up your vehicle and plant and ransack your vehicle for no flipping reason, without cause, without any reasonable suspicion for anything they do it. So I don't know where what they're talking about right here. They can respond to a series of intelligence-driven operations to target and capture people who are doing these things and generally disrupt the gangs in their activities. The lockdown also allows for detaining suspects beyond normal laws and setting up checkpoints to stop and search vehicles and people. Beyond normal laws. So this now is what police want. They want to be above the law so they can do what they please and get away with it. It's like Christmas for them. What it does, in fact, is create a safer environment. It actually creates a more oppressive environment. That's what regular people view it as. If you wanted to create a safer environment, when people go into the station to report crimes, you would take it seriously. When women report rape, you would take it seriously. And the legal system would punish rapists. He said He said the immediate hope is to halt the slide into violence, then create a lasting result. The slide into violence has happened already. It is already here. I don't know what it prevent is to stop, halt. We are already neck deep in the violence. Military forces have been deployed to the area in an attempt to stabilize the situation, reads a safety and security notice by Travel Canada. If you are staying at a resort in the affected area, restrict your movements beyond resort security perimeters. If you do travel outside these perimeters, use transportation arranged or provided by the resort. Use organized tour operators and excursions and travel to and from the airport. If you are in the affected area, be extremely vigilant. Follow the instructions of the local authorities and monitor local news. This doesn't sound like somewhere where people should be going anyway. Just tell the people to pack up and leave. That is all you need to do. Tell them to pack up and leave and don't spend another dime. That is what you need to tell them to do. Under the state of emergency, security forces will have extraordinary powers and some rights will be suspended, said Prime Minister Andrew Holness in a statement. Now, this is what they love. They love extraordinary powers. And they love for regular people to have no rights. I wonder if they allow crime to escalate because they need to circumvent the laws that protect people. Like, you never know, these people might be there creating chaos just because they need a reason to be oppressive, to gain more power than they already have. You're talking about a culture that disrespect, they distrust the police. And what is going to happen after this? If power is abused in this situation, what is going to happen? People in Montego Bay especially are very distressed by what they see playing out on their streets. But this will take great understanding and tolerance from the people, Holness said during our press conference. Authorities also have imposed a curfew in parts of St. Catherine Parish, located just west of the capital of Kingston.